Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. We are heading to one of our favorite places, one of our favorite live events here. We are heading to Costa Rica, just outside of San Jose, which is the capital, to the Toucan Rescue Ranch. And you may or may not be familiar with the Toucan Rescue Ranch, but they do incredible work rescuing and rehabilitating native Costa Rican wildlife. So it could be sloths, it could be porcupines, anteaters, toucans, parrots, you name it. They can find a home there and whenever possible, be released back into the wild for a second chance. So we're going to go on a little tour now. Today we are focusing on the birds. We might take a little peek at our sloth pals as well, but I'm going to bring in Andrea, who is going to be our host and guide for today. Hey, Andrea, how you doing?
Hi, Joe. I'm good, and you?
All right, it's good to see you. Good
to see you as well.
A little bittersweet because the last time I saw you, I was there with you in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
It is still nice to see you virtually. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, of course. Thank you so much for the invitation, as always.
All right, we're going to let you take over for a little bit. We're going to meet some of the crew.
Sure. Okay. So, welcome you guys virtually to the Toucan Rescue Ranch. As Joe was saying, my name is Andrea. I am the tour coordinator here at the ranch, and I've been spending my last 2 years and a half here at this amazing place, and hopefully many more years to come. So, today we're going to get to see a little bit about birds and hopefully a couple other surprises here and there. So of course, it is just right to introduce the Toucan Rescue Ranch with our background, which is actually with toucans, of course, just like the name of the rescue center. So here at the ranch, we're both a rescue center and a sanctuary. On the rescue center side, our main goal is to always rescue, rehabilitate, and rewild as many animals as possible, which means that we always want to see as many animals going back into the wild as we can. Of course, if an animal cannot make it back into the wild because of certain reasons, for example, they're badly injured, they never learned how to hunt, they were kept as pets, and things like that, then they're going to have to stay here with us at the sanctuary. So we're going to be actually on both places. I'm going to show you very little surprises on the rescue center side, and then most of our time we're going to spend it on the sanctuary side, meeting our permanent resident birds. So here at the ranch, as our name says, we actually started rescuing toucans back in 2004 when our founder, Leslie Howell, she's an American. She was born in the States, but she spent many, many years here in Costa Rica when she was young. And she was raised with, all of these amazing animals here in Costa Rica. And she even learned how to take care of them when they were young and then put them back into the wild whenever they were ready. And then she came back after she had kind of like a midlife crisis, as she likes to say it. And back in 2003, she started volunteering at another center that were rescuing macaws and were working with macaws. And over there, she learned that here in Costa Rica, there was a huge problem because everyone wanted to rescue macaws. Like if there was a macaw that needed to be rescued, that was kept as a pet or whatever, everyone was like, me, I want to go and rescue them. But if it was, for example, a toucan or an owl, everyone was like, nah, I don't really want to work with those. So in 2004, she had this amazing idea of creating the Toucan Rescue Ranch here in her house. Actually, this is her garage, and I'm actually standing in her, backyard. However, she transformed everything into the rescue center and sanctuary. So we started with toucans, which are pretty cool animals, and then the wildlife police people, they saw that Leslie was having huge success on, raising birds and taking care of them as well. And they decided to keep on bringing more animals, more birds, for example, birds of prey that hopefully we're going to get to see some owls and everything later, and some other birds of prey. And then in 2007, we started diving into the mammals. So we started rescuing sloths and animals like those. And of course, we do not regret that, but it was like a huge change, between birds and now mammals. So I'm going to take you guys to our wildlife clinic, because over there I have the first surprise of the day. Hopefully you guys are gonna get to love them. Pretty sure that you will. So here at the clinic, you're actually gonna get to see some behind the scenes because we normally do not come over here. However, I really want you guys to see these really cute babies. So just let me flip the camera. I don't know if you guys can hear them already because they love to scream. So over there on the back of the kennel, we've got 2 baby chestnut mandible toucans, and there's a third one over here. He's having a little bit more TLC because he's not doing as well as his brothers. However, hopefully he's gonna get to grow back and big and healthy like these other 2 babies. So we're gonna get to see later how a chestnut mandible adult looks like because they look completely different from these guys. I've known these guys almost since day one, and they looked like chicken breasts. They didn't have any feathers in them, and they were just so ugly. Their eyes were still closed, and it's been quite the journey to see them growing older. So these guys are now almost sitting by themselves, and you can see that their feathers are growing, which is great. And whenever they will start learning how to fly, then they will be moved to another enclosure so that they're going to be able to learn how to fly and hopefully in the future go back into the wild. They really like to let us know that they're hungry and that they're ready for their next meal. They are getting a smoothie, which is over here with a syringe and everything. Syringes are in there. Because we need to replicate kind of like what their parents would have given them in the wild. The reason why we had to rescue these 3 little babies is that unfortunately the tree that they were nesting on fell to the ground, actually pretty close to the release site, so our other property. So we got to see firsthand, that the parents were still around. We wanted the parents to come back for the babies, but unfortunately that was not possible. They were probably really scared, and so we just had to take the decision to bring them here, and we've been raising them for maybe like a month and a half or so, if not a little bit more. Time flies here. No pun intended with these little babies in here. But yeah, and so you can see that they already have some little pieces of papaya in here. Hopefully they're gonna start eating on their own really soon. So that was my surprise of the day, at least the first one. Hi, little guy. And so we can go and look for the adults right now and maybe some other animals. Actually, let me go check if the parrots still want to be really noisy, which is of course always. But we've got some yellow-naped parrots, one of the most critically endangered species here in Costa Rica. And these guys, they were kept as pets. They love to talk. Like, seriously. We have them next to our education center. And so they spend all day long talking and laughing, and it's just so fun to hear them doing like all of those noises. Right now they're eating. I don't know if you can already hear them. So, hola. Give me 1 second. So these 4 guys in here are some of our yellow-naped parrots, and as I was saying, they're one of the most critically endangered species we have here. Hopefully you guys can still hear me because they love to talk. Hey, and they also love to fight. And of course, feeding time. Who wouldn't be fighting with their friends and, siblings to get the best piece of papaya and fruits? So these 4 guys and many other of our parrots in here, and I'm going to show you more parrots later, they were kept as pets. Now, here in Costa Rica, it has been illegal to have wild animals as pets, and so we are not allowed to have parakeets, monkeys, cats, such as like ocelots, jaguars, parrots, any kind of wild animal, because of course they belong to be in the wild. they shouldn't be here in an enclosure. And even though we're giving them, a really nice sanctuary and a really good place for them to live on, they're still kind of like, what are you doing? They still had to be kept away from the forests where they should be flying. What are you doing? Are you being silly? Huh? Do you like to show off? Hola. As I was saying, these guys are such a treat. Hi, are you saying hola? Oh. They even laugh. There's one of them that laughs like Maleficent, the evil witch from Disney. Like, I've heard them laughing almost like really, really late in the afternoon, and it's really creepy sometimes. It's always fun, but it's always super funny. Hey. So right now they're getting a mix of papaya, sunflower seeds, papaya seeds, and corn. And just as we're gonna get to see with the macaws later on, parrots, parakeets, and macaws, they have a really big beak that is designed to crack open nuts and to crush seeds and stuff like that. So with some other animals, in some other birds, for example, the toucans, we're going to say that they are seed dispersers. Now, a seed disperser it could be a big animal, it could be a small animal, it could be a mammal, a bird, or whatever. But some of the animals that do like to eat fruits, whenever they eat the fruit, sometimes they also eat the seeds and swallow the seeds. And so whenever they go to the bathroom, they will poop out the seeds. And that way you can see like lots of trees growing out of their poop, which is really, really cool. So spider monkeys, we have some spider monkeys here at the ranch. They are extremely good seed dispersers. The toucans are also really good seed dispersers. But since parrots and macaws actually like to destroy the seeds and crack them open, they're not really good seed dispersers because they're actually, destroying all of those seeds. So they're not going to be able to grow. What are you doing? I've also seen them eating like really small fruits and with really small seeds, and even then they're gonna go first for the seeds and we're gonna try to crack them open and destroy them. So I'm gonna leave these guys here so they can continue having their brunch, because it's kind of like breakfast and lunch. And I'm gonna move and try to find some other really cool birds. Well, I can show you guys the Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is one of our owls. Let me see. This is a Stevie Wonder. So this cute guy over here, this is a spectacled owl. Spectacled owls are the largest species of owl we have here in Costa Rica. These guys can be both diurnal or nocturnal. So if you've ever heard that owls are just nocturnal, that's actually not true, because there's actually a species of owls that like to be active throughout the day. For example, the burrowing owl, the little owl. Here in Costa Rica, we also have the pygmy owl. And these guys, they can choose to be active during the day or during the night. However, of course, they do prefer to hunt at night. And so, what are you doing? Hi. Look at those really cute eyes. So Stevie was rescued many, many years ago. And I'm not exactly sure about his story, although I'm pretty sure that he must have had a collision of some sort with something, because he came here with some neurological issues. And so he was not able to go back into the wild because he does not fly properly anymore. And he also has these neurological issues. And so he wouldn't have been fit for a life in the wild anymore. So one of the main reasons why we have to rescue so many owls in here is that sadly, when the owls are flying around at night, they will not see if there's a window, a wall, a car, or something in the middle, and they will hit those things. So sometimes because of the injuries, they do not survive, they do not make it. Some of them, they get to go back into the wild after they heal or without any injuries even. And some of them, like Stevie Wonder and some other owls that we have on our sanctuaries out of the property, they have to stay here because of those injuries. So we've got some other owls, for example, Grumpy and Mandela, who are other spectacled owls, and also Big Mama. They're missing a wing because we needed to amputate one of their wings because of their injury. So of course, if they cannot fly, then they're gonna have to stay here with us. Then, Stevie, will you allow me to go to the other side without being scared? Because I want to show you guys how their talons, their feet, they look like, because they have some really, really big nails. Hi, Stevie. Come here. I know you can see me. I don't know if you guys are gonna get to see his really big talons and his really, really big nails. No, you're hiding them. You don't want to show your nails? You're still really cute. Yes. So you can see why they're called spectacled owls. They look like they have some spectacles or some glasses in here, right? You can also see these feathers around his beak, around here. Those feathers are for the owls to kind of like sense what's surrounding them. And so for owls, their head is kind of like a huge antenna, because with their big ears and with those feathers, they're able to track their prey extremely well, especially if they're hunting at night. They're gonna need to have like really good senses of hearing and also their eyesight, so that they're able to locate their prey and they are able to hunt them. Owls are extremely good pest controllers, and so they can eat lots of different types of mouse and like mice in the wild. And so the barn owls, for example, they're able to eat around like 1,000,000 mice a year, or that's something that I read, and that's just amazing. And so if you guys have like a barn, or even around like your houses in the city, there are gonna be owls hunting for those annoying rats everywhere. So that's pretty cool. Then I don't know if Scene wants to be shown. Hi, Scene. Hello. So Scene is a rehab gray hawk. Are you being shy? She's still a juvenile. She came here because she was not able to fly, and so she's still learning, and hopefully she's gonna go back pretty soon. Hello. I'm not gonna bother you that much. I don't want to stress her out. So I'm gonna cross this door and I'm gonna go to the sanctuary side of the property. Going to find more toucans, more parrots, more macaws, and more everything, basically. It is a gorgeous day here at the ranch.
Hey, Andrea, I'm just going to pop in for a sec. While you're making your way to the toucans,
yep.
How about we play some Kahoot with the classrooms?
Cool, yeah.
All right, perfect. So if you are joining in with us right now, you can join in a live Kahoot quiz with us while we make our way to the toucans. I am going to share my screen here, and you will be able to see how to join in. So here we go. If you go to kahoot.it, the website, kahoot.it, it'll ask you for a PIN number. And this PIN number is right up here on the screen. It's 343154. You could join in with us at your seat or from your home. If you have something like a cell phone or a tablet, you can scan that QR code. If you have a Chromebook or something, you just punch in the PIN number. If you don't have technology at your seat, that's no big deal. Your teacher could put this up at the front of the classroom and you could shout out your answers to him or her. Or just play along and see how you do. You don't have to join if you can't join with us today. I see lots of students in classrooms joining us right now, which is great. We've got the swift elk, the focused pelican, the smiling gator, and more. Very, very cool. I have 4 questions for us today. If you are listening to what Andrea shared with us so far, you will be ready to go. If you get the answer right, you're getting points. If you get it right really quickly, you are getting even more points. While we play the Kahoot, I want you to start thinking about questions as well. If you're on YouTube, you can put your questions into private chat. If you're one of our camera classrooms, well, we'll call on you pretty soon, and you'll get a chance to ask some of those questions right after we spend a little time with the toucans. Okay, Andrea, there's still students joining. So, actually, no, I think we've got the magic sloth. That's really cool.
Mystery V, I like that one.
Yeah, awesome. So it's slowed down, so I think we can get started. So 20 seconds on the clock for each question. Let's get going. Here we go. All right, first question coming up. Counting us in, 3, 2, 1. The Toucan Rescue Ranch is in what super biodiverse country? Is it Panama? Is it Colombia? Is it Costa Rica? Or are they in Brazil? So which country will you find the Toucan Rescue Ranch? Panama, Colombia, Costa Rica, or Brazil? This should be a nice, easy warm-up question for all of our classrooms out there. All right. Overwhelmingly, we went with Costa Rica. That's a great start to the quiz. The snowy otter is
cool.
in first place. And we know we have the lovely Emma, who we love to spend time with at the Toucan Rescue Ranch. Our next question is a true and false. It's illegal to have wild animals as pets in Costa Rica. Is that true or is that false? It is illegal to have wild animals as pets in Costa Rica. True or false?
Can you imagine having a monkey in your house?
I could not. That would be a bit messy, I think.
Yeah.
All right. It is true. In Costa Rica, it is illegal to have wild animals as pets. The snowy otter is holding down to that top spot.
Good one.
Go. Animals that spread seeds around the rainforest are called. Are they seed planters, seed dispersers, seed eaters, or seed crushers? What do we call an animal that spreads seeds around the rainforest? Seed planters, seed dispersers, seed eaters, or seed crushers?
Love that toucan picture.
All right. We went with seed dispersers. That's absolutely right. We need those animals, mammals, birds, and bats to put out those seeds all over the rainforest for us. The snowy otter might just hold on all the way through.
Oh, wow.
We've got one more question. What's the largest species of owl in Costa Rica? Is it the spectacled owl, the barn owl, the pygmy owl, or the screech owl? That picture might be a little bit of a clue for you and help you out there if you're thinking about it. I don't know if I told you, Andrea, but I was lucky enough when out on the Osa Peninsula, we found a pair of them up in a tree.
Oh, is this a picture of that owl?
No.
Okay.
I did get some really good pictures, but we found the pair up in the tree early in the morning, so we got some great photos.
That's nice.
Okay, so it is the spectacled owl. Let's see what happens on our podium in third place. We've got the dynamic wallaby. In second, the dynamic panda. Very dynamic animals today.
Yeah.
And first place, what happened? Ooh, Agent Bunny sneaking in.
What happened to Snowy Owl?
I don't know. Agent Bunny sneaking in for the victory. All right. Well, thanks.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, did not see that. An upset. Okay. Andrea, let's do some toucans and let's do some questions.
Sure. Okay. So let's see who is out and about. Most of them were out and now they went to the back to grab some food. So an example of that is Princess over there. So if you guys remember the teeny tiny baby toucans that we saw at the very beginning, those were chestnut mandible toucans. And whenever they grow older, they're gonna look just as stunning and beautiful as Princess over here. So chestnut mandible toucans, they are the largest species of toucan we have here in Costa Rica and the second largest species of toucan in the world. The largest species is the toucan that you can find in Brazil in the Amazon forest. princess over there is holding a piece of papaya. I don't know if you guys remember the teeny tiny pieces of papaya that we had for the babies. They still have a long way to go until they get to eat these really big chunks of papaya. Don't they, princess? So princess came here many years ago with a broken wing, and so again, since she's not able to fly, she had to stay here at the sanctuary with us. Then let's see who else. Zuri. Let's see how she behaves, because Zuri is normally not really good with me. Oh, you're well behaved today. I love that. So Zuri is another chestnut mandible toucan. She's still a juvenile. She's around like 2 years old or so. And Zuri, she was actually kept as a pet. And so she arrived last year. And just like Tuki, another chestnut mandible toucan that is living in the southern enclosure. Are you scratching yourself? Are you cleaning? He's cleaning his butt. That red thing that you can see, that's his butt. Both Tuki and Zuri were kept as pets. And even though they arrived from different owners and at different times and everything, both of them arrived looking just exactly the same. Sadly, when they came... You're being rude now. Yeah, Zuri is a little bit rude. She doesn't like me as much. Are you throwing a tantrum because I don't have any treats? I'm not gonna give you any treats, Missy. So as I was saying, they were kept as pets. They came here without most of their feathers in their wings and their tails, so that their owners clipped them down so that they wouldn't be able to fly away, which is, of course, really, really sad. And so even though they now have those feathers and they can fly, and they're really good at it, they're not able to go back into the wild because they have no idea how to survive on their own. They got either too friendly with people like Zuri or too aggressive to people like Zuri. Although I don't know if I should take it personal or not, because with some of my friends, she's not acting as rude as with me, so I don't know what's up with her. The only thing that I can tell you is that even though I'm not sure if she's a girl or a boy, because for us to know, we would have to run a blood test, because these guys, they don't have what it's called sexual dimorphism, which means that both girls and boys are different. I would say that she's a girl and that her previous owner was actually a boy, because she does not like girls in general, but she does like boys. So I'm not sure what's going on in there. I've had to go inside to clean her enclosure and to bring her food, like food and toys, and sometimes to replace like the branches and do some rebranching work. And she just does not tolerate me going inside. Sometimes I'm doing a tour in here, and if there was a girl volunteer inside cleaning or doing whatever, she would be pecking on them. So most of the times there has to be like 2 people taking care of Zuri, so that she's not attacking people. But if it's a boy, like for example, our vet Andres, sometimes he goes inside to check up on Zuri, and Zuri's like la 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 la, super super happy that Andres is in there, but she does not like us. So I don't know what's it. Some moments she likes us, some she doesn't. What are you doing? I hope the babies do not turn out like this girl in here. So then I'm gonna show you guys another species of toucan, probably not as colorful as the chestnut mandible toucan or the rainbow-billed toucan that we're gonna get to see later. But these guys are fiery-billed arcaris. You can see why they're called fiery-billed. They got some really, really gorgeous orange colors on their bills. And these guys are a lot of trouble. They are troublemakers. So they are medium-sized species of toucans, and our arcaris are just amazing. They're really, really cool animals. We've got here in Costa Rica 2 different species of arcaris, the fiery-billed arcaris that we actually call cusingos. I don't know if you got to see any back in Osa, Joe. And we also got the collared aracaris like Delta over there, and Gobbles, hadn't seen you, big boy, over here. So if you guys pay attention to the differences between collared and fire-billed aracaris, it's just as easy as seeing their bill. Because with collared aracaris, their bills are not as colorful as the fire-billed aracaris. Also, if you ever come here to Costa Rica, you're not going to find both of them like at the same place, because the collared aracaris, they're found more on the northern side of the country, the Caribbean side, and sometimes in Guanacaste as well, on the northern Pacific side of Costa Rica. But the fiery-billed aracaris, they are what is called an endemic species. Endemic means that they're only found in like a really restricted area. So out of all Central America and all around the globe, you can actually find these guys just here in the southern Pacific side of Costa Rica and a really small part of Western Panama. Scooby is hiding over here. What are you doing? You guys are having a bad day. You just come here to the toucans and everything just brightens up. Right, Scooby? Scooby was kept as a pet, so he loves attention. He loves to be in front of the camera, as you can see. He loves some toucan selfies, as I like to call them. Now let's talk a little bit about toucans and what they eat. I want you guys to think for just a second what you think toucans eat. Or I don't know if, Joe, we can maybe bring some classes over and...
I think we can do that. Let's talk a little bit about what they eat, and then we'll take some questions after that. I see someone at the front and center in Mrs. Ross's class. Let's see if they have a guess what toucans eat.
My guess for what toucans eat is papaya.
Okay.
Okay, so papaya, maybe some fruits. Let's see if there's any guesses. Put them into the chat. I can also check in. We have a few virtual classrooms with us today. I can try and check in quickly. I'll check in with one. Mrs. Brenda. Let's see if any of your students sent in a suggestion. Anything come in the chat, Mrs. Brenda, about what toucans might eat?
You're muted, Mrs. Brenda.
She might be talking to her class.
Okay.
Yes. Jacob, can you type it in the chat for me? Oh, seeds. They are saying seeds and mangoes.
Okay.
Mangoes.
Actually, no to seeds. They can swallow the smaller seeds, but the big ones, like nuts, for example, they will not eat them.
All right. Well, let's find out. I know fruits is definitely right, but I bet they eat some other things.
So, actually, toucans are omnivores. That means that they eat both fruits and meat. So, most of their diet is based on fruits like papaya, bananas, smaller berries that they may find in the wild. But they also need protein in the form of an insect, a lizard, a snake, a frog, snakes, smaller mammals, smaller birds, eggs from other birds. Like, they can eat everything that they can find. That's how cool they are. A lot of people, they just see toucans and they think instantly just fruits, but no, they can eat some other cool things. I've seen pictures of chestnut mandible toucans eating rodents, like squirrels or rats. I've also seen them eating bats, not firsthand. I've only seen pictures, but it's still pretty cool. So the toucans here with us, we give them lots of fruits. For example, papaya is one of their favorites, but we also will give them mealworms for that bit of protein. We'll give them eggs as well. And we also are giving them some pellets that are from a brand called Missouri, and they are super, super complete for toucans. Are you guys sharing? Are you being cute? Those were Gobbles and Echo, if I'm not wrong. Then there's a really weird species of toucans here inside. That's a volunteer. There you go. I was waving at her. So, the volunteers, if it wasn't because of them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do every single day, which is the dirty work. So they have to get dirty, and while we're just making tours, isn't that fun? Do you like cleaning their enclosures?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, she likes cleaning enclosures. That's great. Then this is Parker. Parker is another colored Aracari, like Gobble Seco and Delta. Parker was being raised by us, and he got extremely used to being around people. So that is one of the reasons why he was not able to go back into the wild. We're actually raising him together with Peter. So we had Peter and Parker. And Peter is back now in the wild. He's learned how to be a wild toucan, but Parker here, he just decided that he was more comfortable in here. He does not have to go and look for his food because he has unlimited food in here. And so, yeah, you like it here, don't you? Then we've got another really weird species of toucan in there. That's another volunteer cleaning the trays. And then up there, we've got Totem. Totem is a rainbow-billed toucan. I don't know how well you guys are able to see him. There you go. Are you being so cute? Now you're going. Would you please stay still? I want to show you. Well, here at the sanctuary, the animals do what they please, whenever they want to, whatever they want to. So that's basically what the sanctuary is for. They get to decide. If they decide to be here on the front, that's great. If they don't, then they can be hopping around their enclosure. So rainbow-billed toucans are one of the most common and popular species of toucans. If you guys have ever eaten Fruit Loops, this is Toucan Sam from the box. Hi. He is just showing off. And actually, this is great that you guys are seeing him hopping around, because toucans are not really good at flying. They prefer to be hopping from branch to branch. So that's what you guys are going to see them doing most likely in the wild. Of course, they can still fly, but they just prefer to hop between the branches. What you doing? You're not staying still. So, Totem's story. Actually, we like to joke around his story a little bit. So he got rescued 2 years ago, and he got a collision. He got into a collision. So, pretty sure you guys are still too young to be, driving and having a driver's license. But whenever you guys learn how to drive, please do not text and drive. I think that's what happened to Totem. I think he was texting while flying because he got into a collision with a tree. Just imagine, isn't that crazy? A toucan, a bird having a collision with a tree. That's just crazy. I don't know what happened. And we know that it really, really happened because someone saw him. People who brought him here saw him colliding towards the tree. So we've got no idea what was going on. Maybe he was being chased by someone, or he was chasing something to eat. But sadly, he's got a really bad fracture on his wing, and so he's not able to fly, hence why he had to stay in here. What you doing? Are you being so cute? Then we've got Annabelle in this other enclosure, and I have no idea where Annabelle is hiding right now. So, are you in the ground? Yeah. I think she's at the very, very back.
All right,
So, yeah.
Andrea, what do you say? Should we take some questions?
Sure.
All right. Well, it's always great to see even those weird volunteer toucan species. Oops, looks like we just lost Andrea. I bet she pressed the wrong button on her phone to turn the camera around. So I bet in a moment or two, we will see her come back in with us behind the scenes. If you're tuning in via YouTube, send in a few questions for us. If you are in a camera spot, get ready. I'm going to start calling on your classrooms to grab. There we go. Andrea's back. Andrea, I think you hit the wrong button.
Yes, I did.
That's okay. Okay, well, we've got you. So let's get started here and let's get some questions going. So
Cool.
I'm going to start with Mrs. Ross's class, who already kind of shouted out an answer for us for what toucans eat when the time is there earlier. They are joining us in Ontario here in Canada. And here they are front and center. Hey, Mrs. Ross's crew.
Hi, my name is Ryson, and I was wondering what your favorite animal in the ranch is. What your favorite animal in the ranch is, and what do they eat?
That's always such a tough question because I don't have a favorite animal in here. I really love all of them. They're so cool. However, if I would have to pick one just right now, it would definitely be Felicia. Felicia is one of our ocelots. Well, she's the only ocelot we have under our care. And ocelots are a species of wildcat, the third largest species of wildcat we have here in the country, actually. And they're just amazing. They eat meat, of course, because they're carnivores. And just like any other wildcat, they're really, really good hunters.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Great question to get us started. So we have some virtual classes joining us today. They are in, well, they're spread out everywhere. New York, California, Texas, Florida, Indiana, Ohio, Oregon, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Arizona.
Cool.
But let's start off. Let's bring in Miss Kim first and see if she's got a question from her crew for us. So I'm going to bring Miss Kim in right now. Miss Kim, how are you doing today? We'll see if Miss Kim is there. We might have to jump to another group and we can come back to Miss Kim's group if they're not ready. Oh, there we go.
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
All right. Yeah. So I have a student asking, is there a reason why their beaks are different colors?
Okay, that's a great question. So, of course, it's to distinguish between each species. So we got to see 4 different species: the chestnut mandible, the fiery-billed aracari, the colored aracari, and the rainbow-billed toucan. Why they have so many colors, it is still not known. So we still have to do a lot of more research about that. But it is easy between each species to, just tell the difference between each other. And also something really cool about their bills that I forgot to mention is that they regulate their body temperature with their bill. And so they've got lots of blood vessels across their bills. And so what they do if it's really, really hot, like right now, is that they would send most of that blood flow to their bill. They will open it up and let the cooler air cool themselves down a little bit. And so if it was too cold or during the night when they're sleeping, what they do is that they send most of the blood flow to the rest of their bodies. They will put their bill underneath their wing, and that way they can be a little bit warmer. So their bills are really, really amazing.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. And can I ask another question as well from another student? So when they are aggressive, why can't you safely put them to sleep for a moment?
To sleep in what sense?
I believe they're asking to kind of calm them down maybe a little bit.
Okay, well, we cannot use anesthesia, like a lot of anesthesia, because that can actually harm the animal. For example, with the sloths, we do not use a lot of anesthesia unless we actually require it, for example, like a surgery or something like that. But if it's just to calm them down, for example, if Zuri does not like girls as much, then I wouldn't be close to her as much because I don't want her to get too stressed out or just too angry around me. I would also try to bring her treats so that she doesn't see me as something bad. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the times it doesn't. So I just ignore her.
Okay. All right.
All right. Very cool. We're going to go to a class in California this time. Miss Barha's crew is hanging out with us. How are we doing today, California?
We're doing great. Thank you. Okay, Jacobo, unmute, please, nice and loud.
How many animals do you guys have there?
How many animals we have? Ooh, I think altogether between rescue center and sanctuary, we might be around 300 animals that we're taking care of.
Oh, wow.
And of course, the number always keeps on changing since we have to rescue a lot, and we also get to rewild some more, and so it changes a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Great question. So let's go to another one of our virtual school crews. Let's try Mrs. Brenda and see if her crew has a question or two for us.
They do. They want to know how long do toucans... Oh, I'm sorry. Am I muted? They want to know how long do toucans live and if you've ever had one die.
Okay, so they can get to live in captivity around like 15 to 20 years old. So we've had lots of toucans that unfortunately pass away. Some of them because they came here really, really injured and unfortunately they didn't make it. And we've also had toucans that passed away at a really, really old age. I remember Vlad, for example, Vladimir. He was a rainbow-billed toucan and he passed away, I think like a year and a half ago. And he was like 22 years old. So he was pretty old. You could see him, like you saw him and you could tell like he was really, really old.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Great questions. Let's see, Miss Liz's crew. Let's see if we can bring them in and see if they have a question or two for us.
Yes, they want to know how many breeds of parrots are there in all?
Okay, that's a tough question. There's many, many species of parrots in the world. I do not know the exact number. I just know that here in Costa Rica, we have 4 different species of Amazon parrots, which are the largest in the country, and 2 species that are called parrots, but they're actually more like parakeets. They're smaller. So all in all, like parakeets and parrots, only in Costa Rica, I think we have like 15 to 20 different species. But in the wild, like in all around the globe, there's many, many species of parrots.
Okay, thank you.
All right. A little homework for our crews is to do a little bit of research.
Definitely.
And find out how many there are around the world.
I know that toucans, for example, there's 40 different species of toucans. I know that number.
Right. Very cool. To answer your question from earlier, I did see the fiery-billed arcaries as well, which was so cool.
Nice.
Tons and tons of the chestnut mandible. And then a few days we saw some of the arcaries, which was awesome.
Cool.
Okay, we've got to go to Alaska. Miss Thomas' class is joining us, and they would like to know how long it takes for the baby toucans to grow a nice full complement of feathers.
Maybe around like 3 months or so. 3 to 4 months.
All right. Where should we go now? Mrs. Ross, I see a new student up at their camera, so let's grab another question there.
Hi, I want to know how old are most toucans when they are released?
So it depends. For example, the baby toucans that we got to rescue, they may be able to go back into the wild when they are maybe 6 months of age. At least whenever we know that they're flying and that they're looking for their own food, then maybe that's the time that we will, take that step and put them back into the wild. So around like 7 months or so, maybe up to a year. But if we have to rescue an adult, we actually do not know how old they are exactly. And so we just tell them, we just know that they're adults or not.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great question. Okay, well, let's squeeze in a few more questions here if there are some out there. Miss Brenda, Miss Liz, Miss Kim, if you want to turn on your camera or give me a wave if you want me to come back and grab another question from one of your students. And Miss Barha, I can check in with you in California as well, just to see if you have another question from your students.
Okay, we have another question. Okay, Mia, unmute, nice and loud.
How often do you guys rescue animals?
How often? Yeah, maybe how often are you called to rescue an animal?
Oof, every day. Some weeks we have like really, really busy weeks that we have to rescue more than one animal. Some weeks we have to rescue just a few animals, so it depends.
Yeah, that's the challenge of being, in a large city.
Oh yeah.
Wild areas around. Costa Rica does an incredible job of setting aside land for national parks and things like that. But when you have people and wildlife, you're bound to have conflict, and living in the same space isn't always easy.
No.
All right. Mrs. Brenda, this is a great question. Mrs. Brenda, what's your question?
So they want to know if you have any sloths.
Yes, we do.
I think that could be a fun way to end off today, is maybe say hi to a sloth before we sign off.
Awesome.
Miss
Thank you.
Liz has another question. Who would you say is the most agile animal at the ranch? Who's quick and fast and maybe good coordination?
Believe it or not, I would say a sloth.
All right.
Maybe not as fast as an ocelot, while trying to hunt, or a tyra like Hershey, but sloths definitely, like, you've seen them. They can definitely be like super feisty and like really, really fast if they want to.
They move fast when they want to.
Oh yeah, and super, super coordinated.
Okay, just before we see the sloth, Miss Kim's class wants to know the Arcari. Why is it their beak? It seemed really sharp compared to the other ones.
Actually, all of their bills are really, really sharp. It's not that they use them to, like, because most of the toucan's bills are actually really, really fragile and they can break quite easily. And so it's just, something about this species itself. But they don't use them to cut like things or stuff like that.
All right. Well, let's have a showstopper to wrap up. Let's get a little bit of a furry critter.
I was gonna try to stop by the adults, but of course all of them are sleeping. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them. It's really, really hot right now. However, I found a friend in here that is really busy having lunch. So this is baby Siggy. Siggy is a three-fingered sloth, and he is munching on some really yummy ficus leaves. So, for you guys to remember, there are two-fingered and three-fingered sloths, and lots of people will call them two-toed, three-toed sloths. I prefer two-fingered, three-fingered, because it's in the hands that changes. So, as you'll see from Ziggy, he's got 3 fingers in his hand. Right now, they're hidden by the leaf. There you go. You can see those 3 fingers. And if we had a 2-finger sloth that all of them are sleeping because it's really hot, you would see 2 fingers in their hands. Now, there's many, many other differences. For example, with the 2-fingered sloths, they've got some really adorable piggy noses, as I like to call them. And 3-finger sloths, they have kind of like a dog nose because they are black and they're smaller. Their snouts are not as big as 2-fingered sloth. Yeah, all of them are sleeping. Like, that's Nala on the back. I've got Pax and Liana over here, and they're just snuggling and spending the afternoon as it should. Lucky them. But then this little guy in here, he's really, really enjoying those leaves. He's super, super happy about those leaves. And speaking of happiness, you'll probably see a picture of a sloth and you'll always see kind of like a smile in their faces. That's not a smile. So they always have that kind of like smile in their faces, and that is because they don't have any facial muscles. And so they cannot frown or like appear to be sad or happy. They just always have that smile in their faces, kind of like a poker face. So it can be a little bit misleading for some people to think that they're actually happy when they're actually trying to attack you, because the sloths, as I was saying, they're really, really vicious and really, really aggressive whenever they need to be. Of course, they need to defend themselves sometimes against people or against their natural predators, for example, an ocelot or a jaguar. And so they really need those teeth to defend themselves. And if they need to be fast, it takes a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, until they are grabbing you and attacking you. I actually do recommend you guys to go and look for some really cool videos on YouTube about sloths defending themselves. So, for example, sloth versus harpy eagle or sloth versus ocelot. There's a really cool video of a two-finger sloth defending itself against an ocelot, and it was taking on a camera trap, and it's just amazing. It shows how fast they can be and how feisty they can be as well. So maybe we can wrap it up with some questions about sloths. I know that on Monday, we're probably going to talk a lot more about sloths.
Okay, Andrew, I wanted to ask for an update. When I was there was a little two-fingered sloth with a little cast on, and I'm wondering how that two-fingered sloth is doing.
Huh, that's a great question. I don't know which baby it was.
Okay. You can update me after, but I remember there was a little baby with a little cast on its arm.
I do remember which baby that was. I do have Landon in here. I don't know if you remember Landon. He's the sloth that is having some coordination issues. Hi, Landon. He's always here on the teepee. So I don't know if you remember this little guy in here.
Do you remember getting to? Oh, there we go.
Hi, Landon.
Two-fingered sloth.
You can see that piggy nose in there.
All right. So there is a question here from our group in Alaska, and they're really curious. Can you put a number on how many animals have been released into the wild over the years?
Over the years, I have no idea.
Probably a lot.
Last year, it was, I think, around 100 to 200 animals.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it varies every year. It varies, of course, because some years we have to rescue more animals than others, and so it really varies. I know that sloths altogether, it's been more than 250 sloths in the last maybe like 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so a question here from Miss Kim's crew. They're curious about the size. How big can a sloth get?
So it depends on each individual. Just like us, some of us are smaller than others. So some individuals can be smaller than others. We've got Atlas, for example. Atlas is an adult two-finger sloth, and he weighs around like 20 pounds, which is huge. We also have Georgie, who weighs around like 18 pounds, 15 pounds or so. So it really varies. And we also have Helga. She weighs around like 10 pounds, 10 to 12 pounds. So she's way smaller. And of course, these babies landed maybe around like a kilogram and something else. So he's still pretty small, but he's still just a baby. He is around like a year old or so, maybe a little less than a year. So he still has some growing to do.
All right. Well, Andrea, it is always such a pleasure to visit the Toucan Rescue Ranch. You guys do such incredible work. This work is all funded by people coming when they visit to come on tours and meet some of the animals. It's also funded by donations as well. So we do have an option for a classroom adoption, and I'll send that to the educators who joined us today afterwards, and we send them a certificate and some pictures of the sloths. So that's always really, really cool. Yeah, thank you so much. That was such a nice treat to go kind of behind the scenes and see those baby toucans. We don't get to see them very often, so that was really cool. A real special treat for our students joining today.
No, of course. Thank you, as always, Joe. I also would love to invite you guys that if you want to keep on watching the baby sloths and also toucans, we've got live cameras. So we've got 3 live cameras here on the ranch. You can go on explore.org, and over there you can find us as the Toucan Rescue Ranch. We have the Sloth TV, which is actually right here. This is the camera, and the camera is pointing out at Ziggy, I think, who is down here eating some leaves. We also have another camera here on the playground area, so you can watch like the rehabilitation side, and the Toucan TV, of course, which is really, really cool.
All right. And then, of course, the website, Toucan Rescue Ranch, if you want to learn more. And if you're ever in the San Jose, anywhere in Costa Rica, you'll have to come into San Jose. So make some time to go and visit the Toucan Rescue Ranch.
We'd be more than happy to have you guys in here.
All right. Well, thank you so much to our camera classrooms. Thank you so much to our YouTube classrooms. Thanks for playing Kahoot. Thanks for the awesome questions. And we are going to sign off for today. Andrea, say hi to the team. And we look forward to our next connection.
Cool. See you next time. And hopefully see you soon here on site again.
All right. We are off air. Our virtual schools, thank you so much for being with us. Have a great rest of the day. I'll send you an email later. And yeah, I have every intention in June of stopping by when I'm doing some speaking before I head up to the Cloud Forest this time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. We'll be waiting for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Say hi to Leslie. Say hi to Zara and everybody else on the team. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next week again, maybe for the next one. I think we have some sloth action.
Yes, I think you're going to have Andres joining you next week. So that's going to be cool.
Maybe the toucans will be a little friendlier.
Probably with him. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend.
You too, Joe. Bye-bye.
Right. See ya.